Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Easy English StoryLab. Today we will practice English with a B1 to B2 level shadowing story. Listen carefully. Pause the video. Repeat after me. Copy the pronunciation, rhythm, and emotion. This is the shadowing technique. Now, let's begin. My name is Olivia. I am 24 years old, and this is the story of how I almost lost my best friend. His name was Ethan. We met in high school when we were 16. At first, we were just classmates. Then we became friends. Then we became best friends. For 8 years, he was part of my everyday life. We studied together. We went to the same university. We celebrated birthdays together. He knew my secrets, my fears, my dreams. But I never imagined that he loved me. Not in that way. At least, that's what I believed. One evening, everything changed. It was a cold autumn night. We were sitting on a bench near the river, just like we had done many times before. The city lights were reflected in the water, and the air felt quiet and calm. Ethan looked different that night. He was not joking like usual. He was serious. "Olivia," he said slowly, "can I tell you something?" "Of course," I answered. He took a deep breath. "I've been trying to hide this for years," he said, "but I can't anymore." I felt my heart beat faster. "What do you mean?" I asked. He looked at me directly. "I love you," he said. For a moment, I thought I misunderstood him. "As a friend?" I asked quickly. He shook his head. "No, not just as a friend." The world felt silent. I had always thought of Ethan as my safe place. He was the person I called when I was sad, the person who picked me up when my car broke down, the person who supported me when my last relationship ended. But I never thought about him as something more. "I don't know what to say," I whispered. "You don't have to say anything now," he replied. "I just needed to be honest." Honest. That word felt heavy. I looked at him, and suddenly I remembered small moments from the past. The way he looked at me when I talked about other guys. The way he always protected me. The way he never dated anyone seriously. Was I blind all these years? "I don't want to lose you," I said quietly. "You won't," he answered. "Unless you want to." That sentence stayed in my mind. Unless you want to. I went home that night feeling confused. My head was full of questions. Did I ever feel something more for him? Or was he just my best friend? The next few days were strange. We still talked, but something had changed. There was a new distance between us. We were both more careful with our words. I realized how important he was to me. But was that love or fear of losing him? One afternoon, my sister asked me, "If Ethan started dating someone else, how would you feel?" I did not answer immediately. Then I imagined it. Ethan with another girl. Ethan laughing with her. Ethan giving her the attention he always gave me. My chest felt tight. "I wouldn't like it," I admitted. My sister smiled. "That tells you something." But I was still unsure. I did not want to say yes to him just because I was afraid. Love should be more than fear. 1 week later, Ethan asked me to meet again at the river. He looked calmer this time. "I don't want to pressure you," he said. "I just need to know, is there a chance for us?" I looked at him carefully. He was not asking for a perfect answer. He was asking for honesty. And maybe it was time for me to be honest too. When Ethan asked, "Is there a chance for us?" I felt like time stopped. The river was quiet. The city lights reflected softly on the water. Everything looked peaceful, but inside me there was a storm. I wanted to answer him immediately. I wanted to be sure, but I was not. I need time, I finally said. He nodded slowly. That's fair. There was no anger in his voice, no disappointment that I could see. But I knew it was not easy for him. We walked home together, but we did not talk much. The silence between us felt different. It was not the comfortable silence we used to share. It was heavy. Over the next few days, I tried to understand my own feelings. I thought about our history. 8 years of friendship. 8 years of memories. Ethan was there when my first boyfriend broke up with me. He was the one who brought ice cream and watched movies with me until I stopped crying. He was there when I passed my final exams. He hugged me tighter than anyone else. He remembered small details about me, my favorite coffee, my fear of thunderstorms, the way I get quiet when I'm upset. Was that not love? Or was it just deep friendship? One evening, I went through old photos on my phone. There were pictures of us at the beach, at graduation, at birthday parties. In almost every photo, he was looking at me, not at the camera, at me. Suddenly, I felt guilty. Had I ignored his feelings for years? The next weekend, something unexpected happened. A girl named Sophie joined our friend group for dinner. She was funny, confident, and very friendly. I noticed that she talked to Ethan a lot. He laughed at her jokes. He looked relaxed. I felt something sharp in my chest. Jealousy. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was normal. Of course, I would feel strange seeing him with someone new. He was my best friend. But the feeling did not go away. At one point, Sophie touched his arm while laughing. It was a small movement, but it bothered me more than it should have. When I went home that night, I could not stop thinking about it. If Ethan moved on, what would happen to us? Would he stop calling me every night? Would he stop telling me about his day? Would I become just another friend? The thought made me uncomfortable. The next morning, I called him. "Can we talk?" I asked. "Of course," he answered. We met at our usual cafe. He looked calm, but I could see a little tension in his eyes. "I saw you with Sophie yesterday," I said. "And?" he asked carefully. "Are you interested in her?" He hesitated. "Maybe," he admitted. "I can't just wait forever, Olivia." His words hurt, but they were honest. "I know," I said quietly. He looked at me seriously. "I told you how I feel. I can't pretend I don't have feelings. If you don't see me that way, I need to try to move forward." That sentence felt like a door slowly closing. And suddenly I was afraid. Not afraid of losing a friend, afraid of losing him. "Ethan," I said softly, "when you told me you loved me, I was scared." "Scared of me?" he asked. "No." I shook my head. "Scared of change." He listened carefully. "Our friendship is the most important relationship in my life," I continued. "I was afraid that if we tried something romantic and failed, we would lose everything." He was quiet for a moment. "That's a risk," he said, "but doing nothing is also a risk." I looked at him and realized something. I was not afraid of loving him. I was afraid of being vulnerable. For years, he had been my safe place. If we became more than friends, he would no longer be just safety. He would become possibility, and possibility is always uncertain. "I felt jealous last night," I admitted. He looked surprised. "You did?" "Yes," I said, "and I don't think that's something a just friend would feel." A small smile appeared on his face. "So what are you saying?" he asked. I took a deep breath. "I'm saying maybe there is a chance, but I don't want to rush. I want to be sure." He nodded. "That's enough for me." For the first time in days, the tension between us softened. We talked for hours that day, not as friends avoiding the topic, not as strangers trying to protect themselves, but as two people who cared deeply about each other. He told me how long he had loved me, since our first year of university. He said he tried to ignore it, but the feeling never disappeared. I told him about my fear of losing stability, about how I always thought love had to be dramatic and intense. I never considered that it could be quiet and steady. Love doesn't always start with fireworks, he said. Sometimes it starts with trust. That sentence stayed with me. As we left the cafe, I felt lighter. We were not officially together, but something had changed. We were no longer hiding, and sometimes honesty is the first step towards something bigger. But I still did not know if friendship could truly become love. After our conversation at the cafe, nothing was the same, but everything was also the same. That was the strange part. Ethan still texted me every morning. We still shared small jokes. We still met for coffee after work. But now there was awareness. Every look lasted a little longer. Every silence felt meaningful. Every accidental touch made my heart beat faster. For the first time, I allowed myself to see him differently. Not just as my best friend, but as a man. One evening, I was alone in my apartment, thinking about us. I tried to imagine my future. In every version of it, Ethan was there, not just as a memory, but as a constant. Then I asked myself a difficult question. If I met him today for the first time, would I fall in love with him? The answer came immediately. Yes. The next day, something unexpected happened. Ethan didn't reply to my messages for hours. That had never happened before. At first, I told myself he was busy. But as time passed, I felt anxious. I checked my phone again and again. Finally, late in the evening, he called. "Sorry," he said. "I was out." "With Sophie?" I asked before I could stop myself. There was a short silence. "Yes." That word hurt more than I expected. "We went to see a movie," he continued. "It was nice." Nice. I forced myself to stay calm. "That's good," I said, even though it didn't feel good at all. After we ended the call, I sat on my bed and stared at the wall. This was it. This was the moment I had been afraid of. Ethan moving forward. Ethan choosing someone else. And suddenly, I understood something very clearly. I didn't want to lose him to fear. The next morning, I went to his apartment without telling him. When he opened the door, he looked surprised. "Olivia, is everything okay?" "No," I said honestly. "It's not." He stepped aside so I could come in. "I can't pretend anymore," I continued. "When you said you were with Sophie, I felt like someone took something from me." He looked at me carefully. "I thought you needed time," he said softly. "I did," I answered, "but now I know." He waited. "I don't want you to move on," I said, "not because I'm selfish, but because I love you too." The words felt terrifying and freeing. For a moment, he didn't react. Then he walked closer to me. "Are you sure?" he asked quietly. "Yes," I said. "I'm scared. I'm afraid we might ruin everything. But I'm more afraid of never trying." His eyes softened. "I stopped seeing Sophie after last night," he admitted. "I realized I was comparing her to you the whole time." I felt my heart beat faster. "So, what happens now?" I asked. He smiled slightly. "Now," he said, "we try." That simple word felt bigger than any dramatic declaration. We try. Not perfect, not guaranteed, but real. The first time he held my hand as something more than a friend, it felt different. Warmer, more intentional. We decided to take things slowly. We didn't want to lose the friendship that made everything strong in the first place. The first few weeks were strange. We were learning new boundaries, new ways to talk, new ways to express feelings we had never allowed before. Sometimes I would laugh and say, "I can't believe I didn't see this before." And he would answer, "I was patient." But not everything was easy. There were moments of doubt. One night, after a small argument about something unimportant, I panicked. "What if this is a mistake?" I asked. He looked at me seriously. "Olivia," he said, "relationships aren't perfect, but we already know how to communicate. We already trust each other. That's stronger than most couples have." He was right. We were not starting from zero. We were starting from years of trust. Months passed. Our friends noticed the change immediately. "You two were always in love," one of them said. Maybe they were right. Maybe love had been there quietly for years, waiting for us to be brave enough to admit it. 1 year later, we went back to the same bench near the river, the same place where he confessed his feelings. The city lights were reflected in the water again. "It started here," he said. "Yes," I smiled, "and I almost ruined it." "No," he shook his head. "You just needed time." I looked at him and realized something important. Love is not always loud. It doesn't always arrive dramatically. Sometimes it grows slowly inside friendship. Sometimes the best love is the one that was beside you all along. "I'm glad you were honest that night," I said. "I'm glad you were brave," he answered. And in that moment, I understood something clearly. We didn't almost lose each other. We almost lost the chance to become something more. But we chose courage instead of comfort. And that choice changed everything. Now let's practice. Listen again. Pause after each sentence. Repeat out loud. Copy the pronunciation, rhythm, and emotion. This is the shadowing technique. It helps you speak more naturally and confidently. If you enjoyed this story, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a friend learning English. See you in the next story.